Well, one of the most fascinating programs to follow in the portal here has been North Carolina, obviously with Bill Belichick taking charge over there. And they picked up a very interesting one as Pryce Yates transfers over from UConn. And this is a funny one because he was the MVP in the bowl game versus the Tar Heels. And he had initially entered the portal on the 13th of December, withdraws from the portal, plays in the bowl game, and then a couple days after the bowl game, re-enters the portal, and now is on his way to North Carolina. And defensive line has been one of the main focuses here for Bill Belichick and his staff as they lost 4 starters on the D-line. And they've added a few guys there, but honestly, to me, Yates looks like maybe the best one they've added in terms of his production. 6'4", 265, 12 and a half sacks in his career, 30 tackles for loss. So, I mean, I like this pickup for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, you mentioned, Melkart Abu-Joyde. I'm sure I butchered that, from Delaware. Sort of a late blooming rising player. Also has some good tools. CJ Mims, East Carolina, more of a rotational guy. We talked about them in prior videos. When you talk about Bill Belichick and this particular portal class, 13 guys, I think the first thing that jumps out is not a lot of highly touted transfers, right? You talk about 13 commits, only one considered a 4-star portal commit. Now, we remember Bill Belichick in the pros. He was notorious for making draft picks that people didn't, have necessarily high grades on themselves. He wasn't taking the Mel Kiper #1 player at the position ever, right? Anytime the New England came on the clock, he prepared for anything because they could take these guys kind of off the grid. So you see that continue here with North Carolina in the portal. Body types, we've done videos on pretty much all of North Carolina's commits. You can go see them in the archives if you haven't watched and you're a North Carolina fan or interested. But they've been getting guys with great physical dimensions, height, and weight. Pryce Yates, 6'4", 265 pounds, originally from San Antonio, Texas, underrated guy. He has the body type, and of course they saw it up close when he dominated North Carolina in that bowl game. Another thing that jumps out from just big picture with North Carolina, Jim Mora, who NFL background himself, Coach Yates, had him ready for an NFL system. That's good for Yates' transition, but also what jumps to mind is Mora's been complaining about tampering publicly on Twitter to the media. He's saying people are tampering with my players. We had a very good season. Now people are trying to get our guys. I'm not accusing anybody of tampering, but I wonder if there's a backstory here, given the fact that this guy is kind of flirted with the portal a little bit before ultimately entering for good.
Well, he's not the only one. Gavin Gibson transferred from East Carolina, a defensive back, and East Carolina's coach also is complaining about tampering. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting situation. Do Mora and Belichick have history from the NFL? We'll see how that whole thing plays out. But again, you go to Yates. I think it's really very much about what Belichick liked at New England. When we talk about the defensive line, how many undersized defensive linemen did you see in New England? Very few. You would have outside linebackers who, like your Mike Vrabels, who were big outside linebackers that could rush the passer a little bit. Willie McGinnis, really big outside linebacker. But in terms of defensive line, hand in the dirt, these were big dudes, usually over 6'4", usually over 265 pounds. And I think that's what you see with Yates. He's just a big body defensive end with some twitch who is going to increase your overall size profile along with the rest of this North Carolina transfer class.